Welcome to another Dexter-related video as I just finished watching Dexter Original Sin Season 1. So now that I'm finished watching Dexter Original Sin Season 1, it's time to re-rank all the seasons of Dexter from my least favorite season of Dexter to my favorite season of Dexter. But before I do that, before I give you my updated ranking of the seasons of Dexter, just want to cover a few things. If you're not caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching the original 96 episodes of Dexter, the 10 episodes we got of Dexter New Blood, and the first season of Dexter Original Sin, or you're just not entirely sure, then I would highly recommend that you don't watch this video any further to avoid spoilers. Why? Because I'm going to be spoiling each season of Dexter in this video. So don't watch if you haven't watched every single episode of Dexter. Don't watch. Don't click on videos that are ranking videos. That's just dumb. Obviously, this video is going to be my personal opinion. There are some seasons of Dexter that I hold near and dear to my heart. And then there are some seasons of Dexter that all of you hold near and dear to your heart, and I absolutely hate them. So know that this is my personal opinion. And if you're new to the channel and finding this channel out for the first time, welcome to the channel. I'm a massive Dexter fan. If you want to talk about Dexter with me, please do so. I love talking Dexter. If you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please don't forget to Hulk smash the like button. Share this video with all your Dexter fans or all your Dexter friends out there that have watched every episode of Dexter, or if they're close to watching all of them, share it with them. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on my updated ranking of the Dexter seasons. What's your ranking of the Dexter seasons? I'm sure T. Parker Evans, I'm sure the legendary Crazy Coffee Man who goes by Richard will be in the comment section of all. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel because I want to get to 100,000 subscribers. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV. And at the end of this video, I'm going to put different Dexter videos links to Dexter videos that you should click on with about 20 seconds left. I'll put my old ranking of my most recent Dexter seasons ranked before now right here. And then I'll put other various Dexter videos so you can familiarize yourself with my channel. And I'll let you in on a little secret. My ranking did change from the last time that I did this ranking video. So we now have 10 complete seasons of Dexter if you count Dexter Original Sin. And keep in mind, I will be redoing this video once we get Dexter Resurrection Season 1. So make sure you come back to the channel for that. But out of the 10 seasons that we now have of Dexter, my least favorite season of Dexter is far and away Dexter Season 6. Of course, the season follows Dexter and Miami Metro's investigations into a string of bizarre, ritualistic killings featuring overly religious, apocalyptic symbolism. You have Deborah Morgan becoming the lieutenant in this season, which I don't think she deserved. Brian Moser and Jonah Mitchell return briefly in this season. We get introduced to some new characters: Travis Marshall, Professor Geller, Brother Sam, Jamie Batista, Mike Anderson, and Lewis Green. Brother Sam is taken out way too early, and that's one of the reasons why I'm really negative about this season. And in the end, Deb does see Dexter take out Travis Marshall, and then he ends the season saying, "Oh God." So if I had to give Dexter Season 6 a rating, I hate to do this because I love Dexter, but I would give Dexter Season 6 a 4 out of 10. Coming in ninth place for me is going to be Dexter New Blood. The world at large believes that Dexter Morgan died in a tragic boating accident, and in a way, the world at large isn't wrong. Far from the life he knew living under a false name in the small town of Iron Lake, New York, he's successfully tamed down his dark pasture for nearly 10 years with a normal job and a chief of police girlfriend, Angela Bishop. It seems he's got life under control until his son shows up and turns his world upside down. Rattled, Dexter yields to his homicidal urges and soon finds himself on a collision course with an extremely dangerous local. So I was super excited about Dexter New Blood. I was like, when I first heard the announcement, Everybody had been waiting for a new season of Dexter just because of how Dexter Season 8 ended, and we'll talk about that later. Are you surprised we're not talking about it yet? And I was super excited, and honestly, the excitement kind of took away from my criticism of the season. The first episode was good, and then the middle episodes were kind of eh. Episode 2 really pissed me off because the character of Hannah McKay dies off screen. So I was mad. Then we got to episode 5 and Angel Batista shows back up. So I was a little bit more positive on it again. And then we had some good episodes until the finale. And then the finale just was awful. And I wasn't really sure it was a finale because, like, while it had the tone of a finale with, like, the sad, like, Dexter, what says, let me die so my son could live thing, you don't get Dexter to be pronounced dead. So I wasn't really sure what exactly happened. So I was more positive towards the finale and gave it a 9 out of 10. But once I found out, like, initially this was supposed to be the end of Dexter, I was pissed. So the new characters that we get introduced to in this season, the main new ones, Kurt Caldwell, our big bad, Angela Bishop, Audrey Bishop, and Sergeant Logan. We get a couple other, like, random characters that are spread out, but they really don't do much. They don't have a big significance to the story. We have the oil tycoon Ed Olson, and he doesn't amount to much of anything. Maybe he'll show back up in Dexter New Blood. Again, I mentioned already, Hannah McKay dies off screen. You have Angel Batista, and Deb make their returns. Well, Deb, of course, is Dexter's new ghost, essentially haunting him. Batista makes an appearance for 2 episodes. And we also have the return of Arthur Mitchell in a very brief scene, the Trinity Killer, as kind of haunting Harrison. And in the end, Dexter gets shot by Harrison near the heart, and it's believed that Dexter is dead. And it was just not a good way. Not a good season. The underdeveloped characters, and I didn't like it. So as far as the score for Dexter New Blood, while there were some moments that I did like, overall, I was expecting a lot more. So I would give Dexter New Blood a 5.75 out of 10, maybe a 6 on a good day. Coming in 8th place, and this is where I'm going to get canceled. The other 2 seasons thus far, most would agree with me. They're towards the bottom on most people's lists. Coming in 8th place for me will be Dexter Season 3. I'm not kidding. Dexter kills a man in self-defense and initiates a friendship with the man's brother, Assistant District Attorney Miguel Prado, played by Jimmy Smits. We get introduced, of course, to Miguel Prado, George King, the least memorable killer in the show, the Skinner, Joey Quinn we get Anton Quinn CI. We have Michael Soderquist getting invited to Dexter's wedding. Remember, what's his name? Not many people know about Soderquist. He's in a lot of episodes of Dexter, but he's a background character, and I happen to really like his character. They actually said his name. Dexter actually said his name in this season. Usually you have somebody in the briefing room, and they just assign him to go to a certain scene or whatnot, or crime scene. And then we have, of course, Dexter teaching Miguel the code, and eventually Miguel is like, we're going to have to talk about this code. There's too many rules to your code. Dexter, in a really good moment, actually helps end Camilla's life because she's terminally ill but going to survive longer than anticipated. So he gets her the best piece of key lime pie and laces it with something, and Camilla finally ends her life, which is good. And then, of course, the season ends with Dexter and Rita getting married. So it has good moments. It just, to me, it's sandwiched in between the 2 best seasons of Dexter, and it does not deliver. It's not very memorable, in my opinion. I mean, Jimmy Smits as Miguel Prado is good, but then we have the Skinner, and he doesn't really do anything at all. He was pointless. I think the only thing he's really supposed to affect is Deb's emotions because he's skinning Anton. But other than that, he didn't do anything at all, and he's the least memorable villain of all villains on Dexter. That's including, like, villains that are 1-episode villains, in my opinion. So that's why Season 8, unfortunately for me, comes in 8th place. And I know you're going to cancel me for that, and that's fine. We all had different opinions. Coming in seventh place for me, and if you're unfamiliar with my channel, you'll probably be surprised by this, but I'm going to go with Dexter Season 8. I know many of you absolutely hate this season. I know there are flaws, but I like it more than most. Of course, the plot is Dexter Morgan is forced to deal with his past when he comes across Dr. Evelyn Vogel, an expert on psychology, who returns to Miami Metro. We find out that Evelyn Vogel helped Harry make the code for Dexter, and we have people getting their part of their brain taken out. We get introduced to characters like Oliver Saxon, aka Daniel Vogel, our big bad for the season that we barely see, Dr. Evelyn Vogel, Zach Hamilton, Cassie, and Jacob Elway. Now, Jacob Elway is supposed to be a protagonist, but toward the end of the season, in my opinion, he becomes one of the main antagonists with Oliver Saxon, aka Daniel Vogel, because he becomes a complete asshole. Like, I hate Elway, which is the sign of a good bad guy if you really hate them, but I was not a fan of Jacob Elway. He just pissed me off with his pursuit of Hannah McKay. And I think one of the big problems with this season, there's a couple problems. Number one, you have LaGuerta get killed at the end of season 7 by Deb, and then there's a time jump. Now, I can't remember if it's 3 months or 6 months. I think it's a 6-month time jump, and I think that hurt the emotion of the season. I think if we would have followed right up with the end of season 7, this could have been a lot better. And then LaGuerta, her death really doesn't have a big impact. A bench gets named after her, and that's kind of it. And then also the main bad of the season, Daniel Vogel / Oliver Saxon, whatever you want to call him, he doesn't get introduced until later in the season. It's like episode 8 or something like that, late in the season. He gets introduced, and I think an episode or two later, we find out he's the big bad, and he's kind of not memorable. I think he's more memorable than people give him credit for. He's kind of like George King, where George King didn't really do much, and then became the last villain standing until Dexter took him out after Miguel Prado. But I think Saxon, of course, had a big impact because he shot Deb, and Deb had surgery, and she was fine, but then she had complications with her surgery, and due to those complications, she actually became a vegetable because she didn't have air to her brain for a certain amount of time. But unfortunately, because of that, Dexter had to pull the plug on Deb and then put her in the ocean. But I think those are two things that if those would have been done better, this season would have been a lot better in people's minds. I don't have a problem with how it ended because Dexter is a story of tragedy. Everybody that Dexter is close to typically ends up dying. I think Deb dying was like the ultimate, this is a tragedy. And then Dexter decides that he wants to die himself, so he drives his boat into the hurricane, but somehow survives and then decides, well, if I can't end up offing myself, I'm just going to go into exile, become a lumberjack, and let Hannah and Harrison live in Argentina. So we do get Hannah, of course, returning in the middle of the season at the end of episode 6 of season 8, and I think that's where it really picked up. I like the whole dynamic between Dr. Vogel, Dr. Vogel, Dexter, Hannah, and Zach Hamilton, where they have like the serial killer dinner. Well, Evelyn Vogel's not, at least not that we know of. And I think that's good. Of course, we talked about Deb dying. That sucks about the season. And then, of course, Dexter trying to end himself, but he survives riding his boat into Hurricane Laura, and then decides to become a lumberjack, leaving Hannah and Harrison in Argentina. So my rating of the season, I'd give it a 7.0 out of 10. I know most of you would probably give it a 5. You know what? We all have different opinions, and I like season 8 just a little bit more than some because I'm a big fan of Hannah McKay. Coming in 6th place for me is going to be Dexter Original Sin. Dexter Morgan's transformation from a student into a serial killer in 1991 Miami. The series is set 15 years before the events of the original Dexter season, or Dexter series, I should say. We get introduced to some new characters that we didn't know their fates, like Tanya Martin, Captain Aaron Spencer, our big bad, Geo, Clark Sanders, who didn't have anything in the finale, which is kind of weird, Sophia, and Bobby Watt. We get a deeper dive into Harry Morgan. We find out about everything that happened with the whole Laura Moser thing. We get a big backstory on Brian Moser, which was a surprise because I don't think anybody knew that Brian Moser was going to be involved with season 1 of Original Sin. If you did, all power to you. But going into this season, I didn't think we would get anything about Brian Moser. I should have guessed that, but for some reason, nothing crossed my mind. I did predict that Miguel Prado would be in this season, and we got about 10 seconds of Miguel Prado in this season. He's actually uncredited, but that's the cameo that we got, a big cameo of Miguel Prado. So I expect more, assuming they have another season. For my rating of Dexter Original Sin, I know everybody loves it. It's pretty solid. There's some characters that I really want to see, like James Dokes and Tom Matthews, that we didn't get yet. I'll give Dexter Original Sin an 8 out of 10. It's in 6th place. I know maybe some of you would put it higher, but it's my opinion. T. Parker Evans will probably put it number 2 or 3, knowing T. Parker Evans, and he's entitled to do that because that's his opinion. Coming in 5th place for me is going to be Dexter Season 5. The season focuses on how Dexter comes to terms with the aftermath of Season 4, Rita's death, helping a woman stop a group of serial sexual assaulters, and avoiding a corrupt cop who learns his deadly secret. Now, new characters we get introduced to, and there's a bunch of minor characters that we don't really know their names. We know their names, but they're not featured a lot. Jordan Chase is one of our big bads, but our main big bad. Lumen Pierce, Sonia, who's Dexter's Mary Poppins nanny for one season. Sierra Monson, Cole Harmon, which was like the bodyguard to Jordan Chase. Boyd Fowler was one of his villain, well, there's guys. Emily Birch, and then we get RoboCop, Stan Liddy. Quinn and Stan Liddy are very onto Dexter, and Stan Liddy almost comes close to busting Dexter. Lumen Pierce accepts Dexter for who he is and even helps kill people with him. Once Jordan Chase was gone, Lumen could not continue on anymore, though. Like, she didn't have the urge like Dexter has to kill, so she just left, which really pissed me off. At least have her come back for the next season and leave during that season. And then Deb, in this season, I think one of the biggest flaws is Deb should have seen Dexter kill at the end of the season and been forced to make a decision then. They were a season too late to reveal that, in my opinion. So Dexter Season 5, I would give an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a good season. People that say after Season 4, everything is crap, that's not true. Season 5 is pretty damn good. Just some minor issues, but nothing that I would like go out of my way to talk about for 5 minutes. Lumen Pierce leaving at the end of the season is probably the thing I'm most irritated with, and that's like it made sense though what she did. So that's why I put Dexter Season 5 in 5th place. And now we're on to the final 4, and coming in 4th place for me, which is a change, is going to be Dexter Season 7. The plot: Dexter is pitted against the Koshka Brotherhood. He is also torn between his loyalty to Deb, his adoptive sister, and his new girlfriend, Hannah McKay, a mysterious widow with a green thumb and a checkered past. We get introduced to Isaac Serco, Hannah McKay, George Nikovich, Hector Estrada, Angela Miller, I think, and Saul Price in this season. We have Deb trying to stop Dexter from killing. Maria LaGuerta dies. Mike Anderson dies. James Dokes makes a surprise return in the finale. And surprise, motherfucker! And it's a really solid season. And people that put it really low, I don't understand. It's an enjoyable season. Okay, the whole strip club thing, like, it's good, but it's kind of not that interesting. I guess I didn't include Nadia as one of the characters, but I don't know. And then the guy that comes to kill Isaac Serco, is it George or something? No, not George. Yuri, I don't remember what it is, but, one episode or 2 episodes, whatever. But I think it's a really solid season. I really like the introduction of Hannah McKay. I like the fact that Dexter had her on his table. He was going to kill her, and then she's like, do what you got to do. Like, didn't even care. Didn't try to cry, didn't try to put up a fight. Do what you got to do. And that was awesome. And that's why I put Dexter Season 7 in 4th place. However, it went down a spot, but it's still phenomenal in my opinion. And I'd give it a 9.0 out of 10. I can't remember if I said that or not, but 9.0 out of 10 for Dexter Season 7. Coming in 3rd place for me is going to be Dexter Season 1. Dexter investigates the ice truck killer, a serial killer who targets prostitutes and leaves their bodies severed and bloodless. At the same time, Dexter's adoptive sister, Deborah, who's, of course, a vice officer, aspires to work in the homicide department, and Dexter's girlfriend, Rita Bennett, wants their relationship to be more intimate. Now, this season, we get introduced to all the characters. We also have characters that typically aren't in the rest of the seasons. Brian Moser / Rudy Cooper, Tony Tucci, and Neil Perry. We also get the first appearance of Esme Pascal as the new lieutenant because Tom Matthews is mad at Maria LaGuerta. We have Dexter having to take out his own brother, Brian Moser, at the end of the season because Brian wants to end Deb to a permanent end. And this is a really good season. In fact, to me, it's actually underrated. Like, I never had this. I always had season 7 ahead of this. Season 7 and season 1 are very close, in my opinion. And some would put season 1 number 1. A lot of you actually like season 1 that much. I can't put it number 1. But it is rewatching it during right when the Original Sin started. I started rewatching season 1 to like remind myself of all the events that happened in the flashbacks. And I must admit that I was not kind to season 1. It is an awesome season. So with that said, season 1 for me, a rating is going to be a 10 out of 10. Coming in second place for me, there should be no surprise going forward now, is going to be Dexter Season 2. Bodies of Dexter's victims are uncovered and an investigation is launched into Dexter's own department to find the killer, dubbed the Bay Harbor Butcher. During this time, Deborah struggles to recover after surviving the ice truck killer's attempt to murder her, and Rita sends Dexter to Narcotics Anonymous meetings when he tells her that he has an addiction. Sergeant James Doak stalks Dexter, suspecting him that he's connected with the ice truck killer murder. So we get introduced in this season to Lila, Special Agent Grandpa, Frank Lundy, Gail, who was Rita Bennett's mom and the grandmother to Astor and Cody, Little Chino, Max Adams, and Santos Jimenez. Really good season of Dexter. You get Vince Masuka becoming LFI. James Dokes unfortunately meets his demise due to the fact that Lila blows him up, which pisses me off. Deb starts a relationship with Special Agent Grandpa, Frank Lundy. Very interesting there because of her daddy issues. And of course, Deb learns about the 1 p.m. cucumber sandwiches. Frank Lundy unfortunately leaves at the end of the season. And then at the end of the season, after Lila takes out James Dokes, Lila tries to burn Astor and Cody to death. And Dexter goes out and takes Lila out overseas. And that is the end of season 2. A really suspenseful season of Dexter, and I really love it. And there's times where I want to put it at number 1, but the ending of the season isn't the best, and they really should have not killed James Dokes off so early. James Dokes is one of the best characters. Although a lot of you hate Dokes, I think he made this show, so that's why I put Dexter Season 2 as my number 2. And coming in first place for me, my favorite season of the show Dexter is going to be Dexter Season 4. Dexter, otherwise known as Kyle Butler in this season, a father and husband, struggles to figure out how to survive for years to come. He seeks to learn from Arthur Mitchell, a serial killer and family man who has murdered for over 30 years without being discovered. New characters in this season: Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer, Christine Hill, Jonah Hill, the wife, the daughter. I can't remember the daughter's name. I think it was Becca. I can't remember the wife's name. We get Frank Lundy returning for 4 episodes. We also get, I guess I should say, Zoe Kruger, who I think was a very memorable villain for Dexter Season 4, Episode 4, Dex Takes a Holiday, the cop chick. I really like that episode. One of my favorites of the series. A lot of my favorites of the series are in this season. The Thanksgiving episode, I can't remember what the name of that episode is called. And then, of course, unfortunately, Frank Lundy meets his demise because of Christine Hill. Anton leaves because Deb loves Frank Lundy again. Anton never returns, which I wish he would have, because he's a character that kind of has a loose end, but didn't really know anything about Dexter anyway. Just phenomenal stuff. My 2 favorite episodes of the series, well, a lot of favorite episodes, but my number 1 and number 2, Hello, Dexter Morgan, and of course, The Getaway. We end the season with Rita's death, one of the most shocking finales ever to most of you. I wasn't necessarily shocked, and fun fact, I didn't start watching Dexter until the middle end of 2014. So I wasn't spoiled with anything. I know that her episode count was lower, but I didn't think that she was going to die. I just thought they'd break up or something like that. So it was shocking, but not super shocking to me, because I always think something like that can happen to any character at any time. But such phenomenal work. I mean, not just the best Dexter season. We're talking about one of the best TV show seasons of all time. Like Breaking Bad season 4. That's up there. The Walking Dead season 6. I know a lot of people don't like The Walking Dead after season 3. I love The Walking Dead season 6. But I would say Dexter season 4, Breaking Bad season 4 really come to mind. The season of The Shield with Forrest Whitaker, I can't remember which one it is. That was a really good season. So awesome stuff in Dexter season 4. My rating, I mean, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, but really it's like a 20 out of 10. It's that good, that great of television. So there you have it. My updated ranking of the Dexter seasons. And of course, like I mentioned before, I'll be redoing this ranking after we get Dexter Resurrection season 1. And hopefully that'll be one of many seasons, at least 3 or 4 seasons of that show. So every time we get a new season of Dexter, I will be redoing this. Even if we get another season of Dexter Original Sin, it's back to do this video again. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I'm going to give some housekeeping tips here that you already know about, but I have to say them again because I need to make this a living to talk about Dexter. If you're a fan of Dexter content, if you like Dexter videos and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please don't forget to Hulk smash the like button. Share this video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on my updated ranking of the seasons of Dexter. What's your ranking of the seasons? Anything else that you want to add? And remember, I'll put different Dexter videos that you can click on because you're a Dexter fan just like me. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. I need to get to 100,000 subscribers. Join the team, share your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.